Good evening. I'm Joe Barros, and I'm the Artistic Director of New York Theater Barn.
And I am Jen Sandler, and I'm the Associate Artistic Director, and it is, in fact, not Wednesday night, like usual.
It is not. It's Saturday, and we have something very exciting. Tonight, we are excited to celebrate our newest venture, Theater Barn Records, and to celebrate our partnership with Broadway Records. We are also thrilled to lift up the writers and performers of the Broadway Records Theater Barn Records release, Willow, the first of numerous musicals to be released from the creators of the Averno universe. Wow, what a night this is going to be.
What a night. What a week it's been. Have we even slept?
I mean, seriously, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. This week we celebrated the 25th. I love saying these numbers every week. The 25th installment of our virtual new work series. And since March, as you know, all of our programming has gone virtual. We have presented 53 new musicals. We've lifted up the work of 91 writers, and we just changed the number, and recently we've now made space for over 250 artists and partnered with Broadway On Demand. And like everything we broadcast, tonight we are broadcasting to Broadway On Demand.
That's right. We love our friends at Broadway On Demand. As an anti-racist nonprofit theater company that actively seeks out and curates important culture-shifting stories from communities we need to hear from, our team has been meeting to discuss ways for our organization to further develop anti-racist culture.
Yes, New York Theater Barn will host a seat at the table at panel on inclusivity in the theater on Monday, October 19th at 7 p.m. And through a robust conversation, acclaimed leaders of the American theater will discuss the obstacles and opportunities that the theater community is currently facing.
That's right. And the roundtable will be moderated by New York Theater Barn's own Héctor Flores Jr., who is the president of Theater Barn Records and is joining me now.
Oh my God, really?
Oh, hey. Surprise.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Joe. Hey, Jen.
Hey, Héctor.
So joining Héctor at the table on October 19th will be industry leaders. Kirsten Childs will be there.
Yes, producer Ken Davenport.
Writer Joe Iconis.
Director and choreographer Tony Award winner Byork Lee.
And Tony Award winner, director choreographer Jerry Mitchell.
Broadway veteran Daniel J. Watts.
And artistic director of Baltimore Center Stage, Stephanie Ibarra.
Fun fact, Stephanie Ibarra is actually the first Latinx artist to be given the title of artistic director at a major Lord theater. Now, together, this group of artists will take up space to collectively investigate, inspire, and ignite the future of the performing arts. New York Theater Barn is committed to creating a safe space to have uncomfortable conversations comfortably, and believes that there is a space for all of us at the table of the American theater.
You can get tickets on our website, and you'll want to because the writers of Willow will be debuting a music video of their song, Sweet Willow, using visuals from their recording sessions. And I could see Morgan dancing backstage right now. So, and now here to tell us more about how you can support New York Theater Barn is the 17-year-old writer of Frankie the Musical, Elise Mara.
Hi, I'm Elise Mara. I'm 17 and currently in high school in Michigan, and I'm the writer of the new musical, Frankie. A year ago, I got to develop my show in New York. It was a dream come true and a crucial step to the development of Frankie. This past summer, Broadway Records released the studio cast album of Frankie in collaboration with Ashley K. Adams, Mitchell Walker, and AKA Studio Productions. Tony nominee Caitlin Kinnunen performs the title role of Frankie, which is inspired by true events of a queer teen coming of age while she is forced to stand in for her mentally checked out mother. When a mysterious illness strikes Frankie, it impels the revival of her dreams. The New York Theater Barn family is excited about tonight's groundbreaking musical, album, and hybrid universe. We are proud to lift up the work of Morgan Smith, Nala Palmer, and my friend August Greenwood. New York Theater Barn is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your gift tonight is tax deductible. I'm proud to support an organization that serves as a home for original culture-shifting musicals during incubation. Thank you for supporting live theater and the development of original musicals. Enjoy Willow.
That is one talented person, and I heard a rumor that there might be some other musicals sort of in the hopper for Elise coming our way in the next year or a few years. So
I'm
it's
just in
very
awe of all these people writing musicals who are like so much younger than me and so talented, and you guys are amazing. So now let's get on with our night. So New York Theater Barn, as you know, has served as a home for new culture shifting musicals during incubation since 2007. And we've been evolving our current programming since the COVID-19 pandemic. Theater Barn Records is a new imprint of Broadway Records and is dedicated to original musicals in development. Theater Barn Records was conceived by Héctor, and we drank that Kool-Aid right away. So tell us, Héctor, where did you come up with the idea that writers in development should have the opportunity to record and release their work?
Well, it all started when I was a kid. The first Broadway show that I ever saw was Rent. And my mom got me the double disc CD set because we were still listening to CDs back then.
This one?
Yes, it was. That's it. And I wore it out, and I came to realize that the only thing that lives on from a Broadway show for mass consumption is the cast recording. It's easily accessible around the world. And I recently came to realize that we usually champion a show and we're really excited about it when we feel like it's Broadway ready, but we never really champion the journey. Why don't we do that? Why don't we highlight the journey, and why don't we highlight that experience? And that is exactly what Theater Barn does. They incubate new musicals. So this was the natural home for an endeavor like this. I love hearing concept recordings, and I love hearing how things change in the process. And it's all really fascinating to me. And why can't we share that? I think it would be really great for us to do that.
Absolutely.
A new program of New York Theater Barn. Theater Barn Records will support writers in recording and releasing concept recordings of new musicals in development on global streaming platforms.
awesome. Thank you, Héctor. And as we mentioned, Theater Barn Records is a new imprint of Broadway Records. Under the leadership of President Van Deen, Broadway Records is the Grammy-winning record label dedicated to preserving musical theater and theater vocalists. Recent releases include the Grammy and Tony Award-winning revival of The Color Purple, the Tony Award-winning and Grammy-nominated revival of Once on This Island, Matilda, Anastasia, The Perfect Fit, Frankie, and many, many more. So in joining us now are the leaders of Broadway Records, Van Deen and Deena Zucker.
Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Where are you guys coming from? I think, Deena, you just got back to New York today.
Yeah, I'm in Astoria right now for the first time since this all started. So I'm really glad to be back.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
And I'm in Jersey, right across the water from Manhattan, so I can see the seas sitting
Jersey.
in practically see our office from here.
Wow. So it's Jersey, Astoria, Fire Island, and Manhattan. It's like four
You're on Fire
continents.
Island? I'm jealous.
He has been in Fire Island for like half of our broadcast since we started in March, and it's like a thing, and he knows.
Wow.
We're very, very fortunate.
I've just been in a boring Hell's Kitchen.
So Van and Deena, it was so wonderful getting to work with you and Broadway Records on the cast album of Frankie. I'm grateful to have collaborated with Elise Mara on the development of the show and as the director. And New York Theater Barn is so grateful to have Van as a member of our advisory board. And now even more excited for our partnership as an imprint of your label.
Yeah, Van and Deena, this is a question for both of you. How has the pandemic served as an opportunity for Broadway Records to grow and lift up artists and deliver content to audiences in a new way? How have you had to pivot?
Well, surprisingly, we've actually been busier than we normally would be this time of year. We have more releases than we had last year. There's just, I think, so many creators of musical theater who are at home, as many of us are, and have chances to create and try to record from home or work out various remote recording models that we've worked on with engineers to be able to record in this time. And we're even starting to venture into the studio a little bit. We just announced and recorded our Hadestown holiday album called If the Fates Will Allow.
It's really good.
It's amazing. And it features the Fates and the rest of the Hadestown cast. And most of it was done in New York in a very socially distanced way, but some of it was done from home. Some of it was done remotely. There are 3 cast members in LA, and there was 1 in Canada. So we kind of are piecing it all together, but everybody participated, old and new, from the Hadestown Broadway cast. And that was our first big initiative at least partially in the studio during all this. But most of the stuff we've done was either recorded before the pandemic started or recorded remotely during these times.
Yeah, and I think we're in a really good place because we're called Broadway Records, but not every single album on our label has been on Broadway because there's only 41 theaters, only certain things really work in a Broadway setting. But because of the way that Broadway is synonymous with American theater, I think we're able to put a lot of artists out there and say, you're doing good work, whether or not you're on Broadway per se. So I think that's been really exciting for a lot of people to embrace during this pandemic, because since nothing is currently playing on Broadway, that doesn't mean there is no theater.
Right. And I mean, that's a good second to what we're talking about tonight. Like, why the Averno universe? Why Willow? Why was that something you wanted to make a part of Broadway Records?
Well, Morgan came to us this summer with the show she was working on called BITTERSUMMER, which is part of the Averno universe. And that's going to be released a bit later on, but decided to, in conjunction with them, to switch Willow to be the first one. It was the closest to being ready, and it's just a wonderfully beautiful piece. And it very much fits in with our model of working with emerging writers, but we also work with established writers, but we do focus a lot on emerging writers. And that's why we love our partnership with Theater Barn Records, because you guys have your fingers on the pulse of the new writers that are developing musicals in the theater canon. So having you kind of be the farm team figuring out who we should be looking at, in addition to those we know about, you really have your finger on the pulse of everybody who's doing this, and a lot of great talent. So for us, it's a perfect fit. No pun intended, but
How dare you.
to work together and bring new writers to the forefront.
Nice.
Another young writer we worked with, Joshua Turchin. Perfect fit.
13, well, now 14-year-old, but then 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I was just going to ask you, what were you excited about when you're working with Theater Barn Records, but you just answered it. So I'm going to pivot. And I want to ask you, what is a cast album that really changed your life? The both of you.
Oh. Dina's like, what did you just ask?
Well, I know that's such a hard question, but I do know mine actually was coincidentally Matilda the Musical cast album, which was produced by Broadway Records long before I started working there. But I'm that classic story of the kid growing up in the Midwest who didn't get to see much professional theater other than like the second national tours. And I just loved Matilda. And it was the kind of thing where I listened to it every single day and screamed at my parents, you have to take me to New York to see this show. And then they did. And then I never left. So I think Matilda is really why I'm here. And so I didn't realize when I was applying to work at Broadway Records that Matilda was on the label, and it feels like a wonderful full circle, but it was just such a big part of my high school experience, listening to it every single night, basically while doing homework.
That's so
that kind of
wonderful.
sounds like, the how it started where I am now thing that people are doing. That sounds like yours.
Yeah. Catch my name in the Matilda vinyl coming out later this year. So.
Ooh.
Which is that's very fun for me to see my name in the credits there now. But
that's awesome. And it's wonderful that so many cast albums can be the gateway for so many people into this world. What about you, Van?
Well, in Broadway Records, Matilda was certainly a seminal album for me, but prior to that, earlier on, Ragtime is probably my all-time favorite that I didn't work on. That inspired me to really pursue theater as a profession, and became huge fans of Lynn and Steven from that, and now came full circle like Deena did, where we've done 3 albums and more in the works with them, and consider them close friends and colleagues, and am honored to say that. And but they're the reason that I'm in theater, I would say, is because of Ragtime. It's just to me, it's, if there ever were a perfect musical, that would be it.
I think mine's easily Spring Awakening. I know my mom wants me to say that she's watching.
For me, it was the dual albums that were eventually put together of March of the Falsettos and Falsetto Land, which we all know became falsettos, because as a kid growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area, kind of like Deena, I didn't have Broadway. So this was my window. And like, I would tell my dad, like, I know these people's names. And he's like, how? And I would say, from the cast album, from the liner notes. But as a kid who was growing up with my grandparents dying of AIDS, my grandfather had a blood transfusion and passed it to my grandmother. It was like, what the government is not telling us what we need to know. How does a 5-year-old navigate the world? And so as I grew up, I was like, nobody knows what my family went through, except for all the men who died in my father's life of AIDS from San Francisco, who he would bring home cast recordings every night and say, like, another person died, here's another 20 CDs. And I would have these CDs. So for then falsettos to come out, or for me to discover it and know that like there's a modern family that's like my family that's going through something because of a cast recording, I think that's powerful. So March of the Falsettos and Falsetto Land, falsettos for me.
The power of music, the power of theater.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I think we actually need to move on to the next segment of tonight. So
I see Morgan and Augie are getting all worked up. I see them in the backstage.
You feel all the Averno fans like screaming with glee right now.
Awesome. So at this time, we're going to say goodbye to Deena, Hector, and Van. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to move into meeting the creators of Willow and learning more about the material. And we're going to hear some songs from it. So thanks, Deena. Thanks, Van. And thanks, Hector.
Thank you.
Right soon. And then there were two for a little. So as you know, Broadway Records and Theater Barn Records released Willow on September 25th, 2020.
And since then, the album has over 400,000 streams on Spotify. Oh my God, is that it? And debuted at number 7 on the Billboard Cast Album Chart.
And now joining us from their home in Brooklyn are the creators of Willow, 16-year-old August Greenwood, 20-year-old Morgan Smith, and 17-year-old Nala Palmer. Hi.
How's it going?
Good, great.
Wow.
Well, it's so good to have all of you here.
I loved watching you in the backstage, like working each other up for this broadcast. It was very cute.
We literally, like we've done a couple StreamYard interviews now, and whenever we're backstage, we're fully just straight vibing. Like
this is my first time doing anything like this, so I was just like, whoa, whoa.
Well, a few months ago, we were so lucky to present the work of musical theater writers under 20, and we got to present August's show, Two Maiden Ladies.
And I saw her see, I saw them see themselves in the opening, and Morgan in the Glee. I loved that. Of seeing themselves in the opening.
Totally. But I got to first work with August on a production of Tuck Everlasting when they were 14 at Southeastern Summer Theater Institute on Hilton Head Island. That summer, August told me that they were beginning to write, but then I just got to experience August as a performer, which was also really amazing. So I just wanted to share the beginning of that journey with you. So here's a clip of August in that production just 2 years ago.
I don't think they knew this was happening, right? Here it is.
Is it everlasting?
Aww.
Honey, I hate to break it to you, but you look exactly the same. You have never met.
That's a good thing, though. You're going to love that. When you're my age, you're going to love hearing that.
Oh my gosh. I miss that production every single day of my life. Oh, they talk about it constantly. We were cleaning up after Camp Averno, which is like For all y'all who don't know, we recorded Willow and 2 other albums in the woods, in the basement, during a hurricane with no power. And so we were cleaning up after it, and these 2 were the last ones there and had to help us clean up. And this one was freaking belting Good Girl Winnie Foster on loop while we were like collecting laundry. And this house has an open floor plan, so it's 4 floors, and you can hear it all the way up and down.
Well, that's very, very much on brand.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Tuck Everlasting also a Broadway Records album? It might be.
On the website.
I think it is. So it's all keeping it in the family.
Whoa.
Well, so when Augie told me that they were writing, I was excited to see what they would come up with. But the stories that you're telling have so much power, depth, and strength. And because of it, you and your collaborators are inspiring so many people across the world. Willow is the first of several concept recordings from the Averno creators, like you said. And Averno is the universe in which Willow takes place. Morgan, tell us what we don't know about Averno and how it came to be.
Ready, Nala? You ready to get ready again? Averno is a trans franchise. If you're new here and haven't heard this before, there's a joke in this in the fandom about this speech, because I have to give this speech very often. But essentially, about a year ago, exactly a year ago, 3 days now ago was Averno's first birthday, I was feeling very kind of unfulfilled with musical theater because I felt that storytelling as just a kind of general thing that we can aspire to had so much more to give, and the stories that can be placed into musical theater could have so much more depth. I'm a big believer that form should only ever be an extension of content, not the other way around. And it really feels like a lot of the times the form of musical theater was dictating the content, as opposed to us thinking in a more sort of expansive manner about what kinds of stories can we be conveying using this incredibly interesting medium. And so I was like, okay, get this. What if we take musicals and we interlock them? We put them all in the same town. And we use that as a way to be looking at a series of themes. There's, I would say, kind of maybe 5 or 6 central themes that we look at, and then use kind of a lexicon of repeating motifs and visual imagery and like sort of repeating melodies throughout, and use that repetition from different lenses in order to give all of these things more depth. Then instead of it being a singular theater experience that lasts an hour and 45 minutes, it becomes part of a larger shared language. The story itself becomes like this language that we all can pull from. And these repeating images and stories and all of that, those intersections become the meanings. And I think that that's really important right now, because there's a lot of talk about sort of intersectionality and intersection of identities. And instead of us actually looking at the intersection of identities as points of power, it sort of becomes this breakdown of like, oh, you know, I'm this, this, and this, and so that puts me in these communities, instead of looking at the intersections as the points of power. So then Averno is all about how the intersections and the ways that we're able to sort of look at them and engage with them from different perspectives, that creates the art. So Averno is an interlocking mass of an ever-growing number of musicals. Right now it sits at about 15. As well as comic books, graphic novels, TV shows, short films, epic poetry, all of those things. I do the script writing for all of them, so I've written the graphic novels, the books of the musicals, the TV shows, etc. And then I've had the incredible pleasure to collaborate with so many amazing composers
for the different musicals.
There's
so many different like artists and music creators.
And then we have a team of about 60, 70 concept artists who work to build out the visual design of the world and all of that. We also have an incredible team of moderators who help with keeping this massive online fandom alive and thriving, because obviously, you know, we have 10,000 people in our Discord server, and all of that requires moderation and stuff. So there is a huge community element to it as well. So yeah, that's Averno. Art,
Wow.
musicals, yeah.
And this is a question for all 3 of you. What made you want to create a universe of musicals and not just a musical? Because I think that, I mean, would your dream to have these shows be playing like in tandem together, like see one in the afternoon, one in the evening? Like why a universe?
Yeah, that was my goal when I decided that I wanted to make a universe, was essentially that Broadway, you know, the Great White Way, has always felt like the shows are fighting each other And what you see on one side of the street might not agree with what you see on the other side of the street. And I was thinking, like, how cool could it be if you were able to go see a show in the morning and that was talking about, like, the experiences of being a young queer teenager in one town. And then you could go see a show in the evening that talked about the experiences of being, you know, an elderly person falling in love in that same town. And, you know, what would that juxtaposition bring? And what would that overlap bring? And then for all of our composers, like, by having a universe, it means that you're able to create such a, like, extensive corpus of material. It's no longer just like one show's worth of materials and motifs to pull on. Then you're able to crosstalk like between the different shows. So, you know, we have Over and Out, which is written by the incredible Susie. And in one of our future shows, which it's a secret, we can't even talk about it yet. There's going to be a show in which the sister of a character from that show sings a reprise based off of a song from that. And it's written by a different composer, but it means that we can really be pulling on and mining those motifs and seeing what they mean in a different concept.
And can we talk about Sushi for a sec? Because she's kind of your fourth collaborator. Who is she? Why do you love working with her?
They are honestly, they're so brilliant. You talk about Sushi. You brought them in.
All three of you. Why Sushi? Why are they the best?
Because the way that they, like, compose and write lyrics is so brilliant and very mature. In a way that's like, when you listen to it, you're like, I have felt this. And it's bringing, like, it's explaining things that you felt for so long, but you had no idea how to put it into words. They're really good at that. And also their chords are just so interesting. And they're a pleasant person to work with. We wouldn't be who we are. We wouldn't be the group that we are without them. So
I go on live sometimes and I just talk about Sushi.
Right.
Like, Sushi's so good. Because
I'm a fangirl.
I really am. Sushi's so incredible. And I think my favorite thing about Sushi's writing is the sincerity in it. Like, everything means something and it's honest. And I'll go on forever, so I have to stop. But
well, Joe, I think we want to fangirl about Nala now, right?
Oh no.
Yeah. No, this is the perfect time to fangirl about you because you are part of both. You are part of both Willow and Over and Out.
Yes.
So Nala Palmer contributed violin compositions to the album. Nala's earthbound compositions add an indie folk and cottagecore feel that elevates the score. I'm getting her really excited. I love that.
Nala?
I'm nervous.
Nala, I'm going to repeat that because you really liked it. Nala's earthbound compositions add an indie folk and cottagecore feel that elevates the score. When I was asking August more about Nala's work, they said that Nala's work as a whole has so much range and versatility, especially when you consider how different Willow is from Over and Out. August says that Nala is so much better at notating and understanding music than they could ever be. And that Nala's also really a fantastic songwriter themselves, and that the majority of Nala's composing includes classical works inspired by Tchaikovsky. And Nala is also part of the Averno concept design team, where she creates and designs characters for the Averno universe.
How did you get involved with Averno? Why are these two people the best? Why did you want to be a part of this?
So, funny story. I knew nothing about Averno until like 2 weeks before we actually recorded Willow. Like, I met August on TikTok, and I was working with August on Two Main Ladies. And then I met Morgan through August, and Morgan texted me like, "Hey, you should do violin for, like, you should work for Averno. You should do like music for Averno." And of course, I said yes. I didn't know what I was signing up for, but I said yes. And then we get to like the recording studio, and I was like, oh, this is what this is. I'm even more on board now. And since then, I've just grown to love Averno more and more.
It was so funny. Like, Nala didn't know all that much about Averno, like, until we got there. And then since then has, like, joined all of the group chats, and I've been seeing all of them posted on her story. I think like the departments and like getting into the fandom lore and all of this kind of stuff. I'm like, jump in there, Nala.
Another thing I want to say about Nala is that when we got to the studio, Nala had not heard much of anything about Willow. And then we played one of the songs. We were like, Nala, like take your time with it. Like do whatever you need to do to compose this. And then we showed, oh, hi, David. And we showed Nala the song, and then like on the spot, Nala composed Sweet Willow. If you listen to Sweet Willow's the opening number and you hear that violin part, that happened
On the spot.
on the spot.
Literally. Right there, right then. Like,
Right there.
I said this to you yesterday, Nala. I'm a producer and I don't see enough female MDs and orchestrators, and we need more of them. Why are you valuable? I think we need your voice.
Well, I think, okay, as a violinist, first off, the music industry, especially the classical music industry, is just dominated by older white men. And there's just like, especially in composition also, there's like no variety. And I think that we need new composers, female composers, non-binary composers, composers of color, because we just need more variety. Music is not all supposed to be the same. And I think hopefully I can make a difference by being a young Black female composer, especially in the musical theater scene. I think that we need more people like me and people like August and people like Morgan.
And I think if we see more people like you, people younger than you will know that they can do this. And
Yeah,
I feel like that as a female producer, that there aren't enough of us yet, and we need to see more of each other so we know we can do this. And I hope you are inspiring the next generation with what you're doing right now, the three of you.
Me too.
fingers crossed. That's
Fingers
the hope.
crossed. I know you're also working with Augie on their musical Two Maiden Ladies, which we had on earlier this year in the summer.
That's how I got to know Augie. I actually, so again, I did not really know who Augie was until I just randomly, I was like, I made a TikTok and I was like, hey, I'd like to be part of any musical production as a violinist. And I was like, who can I tag? And I was like, oh, that one person that I saw. So I tagged Augie. And then Augie was like, hey, actually, that's great. And
Actually, let's be best friends.
Yeah.
Actually.
I didn't even ask before I added violin, cello, and bass to I Choose You, one of the iconic songs of Two Maiden Ladies.
That's the big song. Yeah, we did that on the amazing Presley Ryan did that on our broadcast.
It was
And that was a dream for Augie to have her sing the song.
Like I composed it and I was like, hey, you want to listen to this? And Augie was just like, yes, you're doing this now. You're doing this now. And I'm so happy that
we are so excited to see the evolution of this collaboration. So tell us about the first song that we're going to hear tonight.
We're getting into the universe of Willow right now.
I'm going to play live for you Adelaide's Path, which is a song. It's the second song in the show, and it's kind of at the turning point where Adelaide, who is like in her 70s, lost her husband, and she's been doing the same exact thing over and over her entire life. She went to church every single day, or every single Sunday, and you know, she's always like, it's kind of like the good girl Winnie Foster thing of like, she's never really tried anything new or gone out of that mold. And now that her husband is gone, she feels like, you know, she misses him, but there's also this new wonder, like what the possibilities of her life could be, and that it's not over. Even though she's a widow, she's got so much more that she could do, and she's exploring that. So that's Adelaide's Path.
Take it away.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Round about the beacon we go, never alone. Coffins of flowers and beds we call home. Watch how the stories unfold on their own. My favorite thing is walking home from church on Sundays, watching the birds on my way home. Everything is as it should be. Not a feather or twig out of place. I brought this in
disinfectant just in case. Cause if I were to fall, I'd disappear without a trace. My husband died last fall. I don't feel him here at all. Everyone tells me when loved ones die, they aren't really gone. So where are you? I've been down this path 1,000 times and more. Nothing has changed, but oh, that forest floor. It never sparked interest in me before. But now that you're gone, I've been wanting more. Now that you're gone, I have urges to stray off the road. I need something different, something exciting to lighten the load. And maybe I'll find a new friend to help me feel less alone. I have a nice house, but I am looking for a home. Not a feather or twig out of place. I built a high road just in case. Cause if I were to fall, no one would remember my face. I've been down this path 1,000 times and more. Nothing has changed, but oh, that forest floor. It never sparked interest in me before. But now that you're gone, I've been wanting more. Not a feather or twig out of place. I built a high wall just in case. Cause if I were to fall, I fear that nothing at all would change. When will things change? So we can be each other's new, a stranger world I can share with you. My home is yours in Adelaide. We're standing by with the rest of our. I've been down this path 1,000 times and more. I'm changing my story, the rest of my life's in store. My heart keeps on beating toward this distant shore. And now I might be finding more. Ow! And then she falls.
I was gonna pinch you so that you could do the ow. There you go.
I was watching Nala, and I know you were too, Joe, doing like the air uke while you guys were singing, and it was very cute.
Nala, I kept on singing along with your violin in my head. I was like missing it. I was like, "Where's the violin?"
Right.
Like,
If you think this song was great, Nala's orchestrations on this whole album make it even more
So good.
amazing. So good.
thank you, a new level. So good.
All
So
right,
I
well,
think
let's talk about
you go.
let's talk about Twister. Tell us about Twister and who's going to sing it.
Emma Freeman is going to sing it.
I love Emma so much.
She's very talented. Twister wasn't written for Willow. It was written when I was 12 years old. I was struggling with a lot of stuff relationship-wise. I had a really bad situation. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but Twister is kind of about, finally realizing that you are in a toxic and abusive situation that you need to get out of.
and finding the power to say that out loud, even to yourself, is so hard to admit that you're in that kind of a situation. But Twister's kind of the ultimate breakup song, but for the character, it's about this girl named Grace is struggling with addiction, is struggling really bad with like alcoholism, and her partner was threatening her life if she wouldn't stop, drinking. And so it's a pretty heavy subject, Twister, but I think it fits really well, even if it wasn't written for Willow. It fits really well into the story for Grace, and giving Grace that power to be like, I deserve better than that. So
here is the amazing Emma Freeman to sing Twister.
Fields of yellow, house of brick. You built me up till I was sick. You talked of nothing but yourself, and yet you say that's who you hate the most. These plains stretch as far as your truths, these clouds pile behind our youths, and still you say the weather's fine. This rain relentless like your lies, these streaks light up your faulty skies, these holes my mind can't seem to fill. You are the twister and I am the house on the hill. Minutes before everything was still. So you haven't twisted things around, 'cause right before me is a whirling thundercloud. You staged late calls so me you'd own. If this is love, then I choose to be alone. These plains stretch as far as your truths, these clouds pile behind our youths, and still you say the weather's fine. This rain relentless like your lies, these streaks light up your faulty skies, these holes my mind can't seem to fill. You are the twister and I am the house on the hill. Minutes before everything was still. Just push my friends away, you'll tell them what I did, you'll tell them what I'd say, but the words you tell are far from mine. You wanted sympathy, you got me, you got my empathy, so let me be. You molded it to shape, then made me carry it around all day. Go on and frame me so your halo's sure to show. Just take what little I have left. So go tell all your friends that's where this story ends, 'cause playing house is just for kids. I'm not a child anymore. You grew me up and slammed my door. On your way out you took the key. Just let me out, you don't love me. I'm not your child anymore. You grew me up and slammed my door. On your way out you took the key. Let me out, you don't love me. One wrong move and down you go. So you say I'll never know. These plains stretch as far as your truths, these clouds pile behind our youths, and still you say the weather's fine. This rain relentless like your lies, these streaks light up your faulty skies, these holes my mind can't seem to fill. You are the twister and I am the house on the hill. Minutes before everything
Were they able to see us backstage freaking out that whole time?
Joe and I can see you. Nobody else
Okay,
can.
great. Well, I'm glad
So we saw you freaking out, and we loved it.
And for the most part, you're like this the whole time.
That's what I do whenever.
we thought
acting is.
I know. Like, see, Augie has heard Emma before, but like, I got to work with Emma because Emma was the lead in my first show that was like in New York last summer, Oceanborn, and Emma played the lead Finn in that. And like, as soon as I worked with her, I was like, "Oh, bet I'm
do
doing
this
for everything I'm gonna do for the rest of my life." Awesome, glad we know this. And she's just so like. She's so kind and professional. This is just me plugging. If there's any theater professionals in the audience, please go hire Emma because she's so kind and she's so professional and she's so talented. And just like Augie hadn't seen like with their eyes Emma sing before. And so like it's an experience. It is transportive. I get nervous sweating looking at her. Sometimes I'm like, oh.
I think, one cool thing probably about that, I mean, I as a producer work with musical theater writers all the time where I help them get that song they wrote the first time they have someone sing it. And that moment where like it just clicks where you have the right person singing your song, I just know is a moment you will never forget.
Mm-hmm.
Grace
That's Emma, for sure.
So I know something that's really particular about your process is the way you recorded this album. I think I saw a TikTok you posted this week where it was a Hamilton song and it showed how you recorded the show. And I think it's so cool. Can you guys talk more about your recording process? You know the TikTok I'm talking about.
Lots of Red Bull. Please, Red Bull, sponsor us. Yeah, so basically over the summer we had Camp Averno, which was an in-person event where basically we like locked down together. Everybody before got tested for COVID, and then we went to a remote location in a very rural place. We got all of the food that we would need for the entire time, and then we hunkered down in a lake house and just stayed there and did basically nothing all day, every day, except write and record music. And it was intense. Everybody cried at some point, but it was also like definitely one of the coolest experiences ever. My dad is one of those people where you can be like, hey, I need a ship. I need a recording studio. I need a town sign. And then he'll just like come in the next day and be like this? And you're like, why, yes, father, like that. So I was like, hey, what are the chances that you could figure out building a recording studio? And so the next day he was like this? And I was like, yeah, like that.
And you made this album, and then the incredible Michael Moritz mixed it for you, who's one of Broadway's best mixers.
His mixing brought it even further heavenly, right? Like I had a moment where I was right here in this room at like 2 a.m. First time I heard the like mixed version of it, and I was sitting here freaking out. And Jamie, my partner, was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I think this might be big." And he was like, "Okay, go to bed though." And I was like, "But I'm having an existential crisis." And he was like, "You have class at 8 a.m." And I was like,
I mean, that's how we felt when we first listened to it. We said, we think this is going to be big, and this is why we have to be involved.
And we're so glad that you are.
Yeah.
Because it's been such a pleasant experience working with the kindest people in the whole industry. Frankly, a joy. Yeah. A joy. I just want to have a tea party with all of you. Right.
I love that. I would love to do that when we can socially gather again.
We just got over Twitter. Can you tell us a little bit about Dawn, the next song that we're going to hear?
Yes. So Dawn is sung by Beatrice, who is Adelaide's love interest. I would best describe Beatrice as a self-proclaimed spinster. She is like the stereotypical rough-ins, tough-ins. Like, she probably owns probably 2 tractors, one of which she built on her own. She is
more than that. She has an opinion about what brand of tractor.
Yes,
and that brand is Kubota, not John Deere.
I just want a show of you making Nala laugh for an hour. I just have to say it.
They laugh all the time.
What you guys don't know about Nala, though, is that Nala is one of the funniest people. Yeah. They just bring it out in very secretive occasions.
And between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Oh, everyone needs a friend like that. I have one too.
But, for Dawn, this is Beatrice basically telling Adelaide that she is allowed to like go through the experience of letting herself be held by the forest, and is kind of encouraging her to break out of the mold that she set for herself and let herself, be young and in love, for the first time, which is really
Be a little
sweet.
wild.
Right, which is really sweet coming from two elderly lesbians. I can't think of a single show that has elderly lesbians in it. So
Fun Home.
I'd like to give
Fun
them
Home.
Fun Home. Yes, I'd like to give speak to more of that. And
you're one of, we were saying this before we went on air, me and Deena were saying you're one of the only people with a show written by queer people that has charted like this. And I think it's such something, I think you and Fun Home and honestly Frankie I think we were saying are some of the only few. And I think it's such a cool club to be in.
yeah, I think it's a pretty cool club. But
It's a really cool club.
it is. And Dawn is
Who
gonna
is singing Dawn tonight?
somebody.
Rachel.
Rachel.
Oh,
My
mom. That's mom. Rachel's mom.
Rachel very quickly became camp mom. She drove up to Camp Averno and came out of her car with 2 bags, one of which had board games and the other had snacks. And she was like, all right, kids, I have wipes. Let's go. Literally. Like that camp. Yes. And that camp, it had been, I was the adult in charge of it, if that tells you everything you need to know, honestly. I was feeding the children on Red Bull and gummies alone. And then Rachael entered, and suddenly there were morning meetings, there were bedtimes, there were plans.
There was a reminder to drink water.
Yes, meals. I don't eat meals, so like lunchtimes started happening. And Rachael is also this just brilliant, like both ethereal and grounded presence. And she was everyone. She was camp mom. She was just such a like constant, kind human being and such a force of nature in her talent. She's so funny because like in person she's so like kind and sweet, but then she can just pull out this like witch, and you're like, oh,
Hey. So Rachael.
No, this sounds like me.
But Rachael did a really good job with Beatrice. It was really cool to see her, like, because we actually didn't know that she was going to be voicing Beatrice at the beginning. It was gonna be Sushi, but Sushi had to go home. They were sick. And then Rachael just stepped up and learned all the music in like a day, and then just went in there, recorded it, and it was phenomenal. So I guarantee it's going to be a pleasant experience for y'all to.
So without further ado, here is Rachael Chau singing Dawn.
1, 2, 3. Have you ever strayed the paved pathway unafraid on your own? Your life's been spent down that road. Call me insane. The time spent alone was the height of my days. Tell me, miss, have you ever swam in a stream or bathed in the stars? Unafraid of who you are, always thought it was better done on your own. But now that I'm grown, I can show you the weight of the universe. The night sky serves as a window to your soul. Now tell me, Addie, how much of your home do you hold? 'Cause you'll never look back again. They call me a spinster, a woman withdrawn, a witch or a hag. Heaven knows how far they've gone. But never you fear, for we'll steal away to the dawn. I can show you the weight of the universe. The night sky serves as a window to your soul. Now tell me, Addie, how much of your home do you hold? 'Cause you'll never look back again. to the dawn. We'll steal away 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 to the dawn. Steal away to the dawn.
Guys, I forgot how much I loved Rachael. Rachael, the acting. Like, I don't know how she did it. She's so young, but she convinced me that she was like this old spinster woman. Like, I love incredible. Angelic. Angelic.
She really knows how to just tell the story. And you know what? She just goes beat to beat. And really that oh sequence that you wrote, like that's been in my head for days.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Rachael has this really cool presence where no matter what, she can level this gaze at you and you're just like in this moment, suddenly you're like sat down at a campfire and she's telling you a story. Like it does not matter whether like you're watching her on a live stream or you're in a kitchen making PB&Js and she's like at the table. Like she goes suddenly like she is this like witch by the campfire and we are all just people who are graced by her presence, honestly.
So I know our last song of the night is a little sneak peek into the next show of the Averno universe.
Why do we do this? Yes. So another musical. There are a few. It's called BITTERSUMMER, and BITTERSUMMER holds a super, super special place in my heart because it was the first Averno musical to be completed. Wayward Sisters was the first one to be written, but the music for that is still percolating. But BITTERSUMMER was the first one to be created, and it has a pretty cool story, which is that it was originally a one-act play, and then it was a two-act play, because I could only imagine a very specific music in it, which is the music by this folk artist named Annalise Emmerich, who was the sort of soundtrack of my summers as a sad gay teenager. And I reached out to her out of literally nowhere. And I was like, hi, you don't know me from Adam, but consider the following. What if we could make a musical? And she said, yes. Oh, Rachel was just like the most mind-blowing thing because like I had this song on repeat my entire childhood and then she just said yes. And I was like, so that is the majority of the music in BITTERSUMMER, and then it has had some additional arrangements, zhuzhing, and compositions by this incredible folk duo called the Brother Brothers, who are an identical twin folk duo, the Brother Brothers. And they're so cool. Adam and David are such joys. They were actually, Adam was on one of the original sets of tours for Hadestown, funnily enough. So yeah, really cool musical, and it's about this set of 4 teenagers who go to the edge of the woods at Averno, in Averno, every Friday during the summer to just kind of get away from the world. It's a lot about sort of teenagers away from the gaze of society. So often when you have musicals, it's teenagers versus society. That's why you have musicals about high school so often, is because you're seeing the teenager against the rest of the world. And so I was like, what if we do the opposite and we put teenagers and no rest of the world at all? So it is just these 4 teenagers, Cam, Dahlia, Violet, and Quinn. Cam, Dahlia, and Violet have grown up in Averno and they're trying to get out, and Quinn has just arrived in Averno for college. And it's the summer after they have all graduated high school and they kind of collide for this one brilliant summer. And then it all gets messy because life is messy. And the song that we are about to hear is called December is Kind. And it is about this character named Dahlia, who her sort of central thing this entire time is she wanted to get out of Averno because she is an artist. She's a painter, fine artist, and she wants to go to mass art for fine arts. However, she comes from a low-income town in rural Virginia, and her father is an alcoholic, and she kind of has had this dream forever, and she thought for about 2 months during the summer it was going to happen, but now it looks like that is not going to happen, and her girlfriend is going to leave her and go to Boston without her, and she's kind of coming to grips with all of that. And it's sung by Janine, who you guys all know as Cassia on the album Willow, and then is also Nova
on Over and Out, and is also Dahlia on BITTERSUMMER because Janine is
Everything.
a god, honestly.
Yeah. And you recorded this the same time you recorded Willow, right?
Correct.
So we're going to see that hopefully soon. But for now, here is Janine Garcia.
I've been a runner, I've been a dreamer, wind in my hair and music blasting through the speakers, wrapped in the summer. What could be sweeter? To believe in forever. That story feels so right, but now I wonder. Dreams, they linger and burn like the summer, grow dark in September and cold come winter weather. A house can be dark no matter the season, and a father can be cruel, it doesn't matter the reason. Ooh, what if winter never came? Ooh, if I called you by your name, ooh, would you wanna fly away? 'Cause you will never find December is kind. I couldn't blame the weather, won't blame the distance. One trip to Boston meets a lifetime of resistance. No good intention ever held anything together. A poor girl from a small town should never wish for something better. Ooh, and if winter never came, ooh, and every season was the same, ooh, you wouldn't have to fly away. 'Cause you will never find December is kind. Last breath of the summer, the turning of the year. How could I think our paths would lead together out of here? I'm gonna have to tell her, I'm gonna have to do it right. How do you tell a winner you are losing the fight? Maybe I'll just kiss you one last time. Ooh, what if winter never came? Ooh, if I called you by your name, ooh, would you wanna fly away? 'Cause you'll never find December is kind.
Janine is so talented.
It's so good.
I loved her ambiance around her too. I loved her candles and everything.
So the sirens.
That's new. I make those excuses all the time in Hell's
It's
Kitchen. I
lovely.
get it. So I think we want to close with a little wild card question. What do you hope people? Why the Averno universe now? Why do we need it during this dark time while theaters are closed? Why do you think people will? What will people take away having it right now?
Oh, go for it. I know you've been practicing. Oh,
This is all three of you.
I just think about this all the time because it's where I live. So I think that like from a professional standpoint, I guess, what I hope to gain with the whole like Averno universe during the coronavirus pandemic is that it is actually proving to be a fruitful way to continue creating. Like what we've seen tonight is a exciting and vibrant gathering of artists. And this has all happened during the pandemic. It happened safely, but it was artists coming together and creating new and hopefully, I believe, important work. And that is so hard to come by right now. Like it's just not happening enough. And there's so much of it to go around. We have 15 heckin' musicals. Like there's so much of it. And we have so much to share and we have so much space for collaboration. Like We talked to 2 new artists today that we're incorporating into the team and hoping to like write with or join as vocalists. And there's just such a vibrant community here. And it's been such a blessing to continue getting to work with people. Like the fact that we all get to be creatively fulfilled in this time is insane. And so many people don't get to have that. And the point is that there's space for everyone. Like it's not supposed to be some kind of like secret club that it's like, we're the Averno creators. And like there's room for everyone, y'all. Like that's the point of it. Like if you want to help, like come join us. Like it's an open club, y'all. And then the other point is that they're not even on the like musical theater creation side. Just the whole world of Averno is so expansive and it's so interactive. We run events constantly. We have an entire events team dedicated to making these events. We have one right now, All Hallows all month, where we have daily live streams. We have a fine arts challenge every day that you can complete with edits, you can complete with drawing, you can complete with like videos, music, composition, anything you want. There's a new prompt every single day. We have movie nights like that everyone can come participate in. There's like challenges between people, and we've had one of these already, Camp Averno. We have All Hallows all month. We're having another one later on in the year. And we've had upwards of like 10,000 participants in these online events, and they've been such beautiful community spaces. And people have made so many awesome friends, and like it's just such a vibrant place to keep on creating and keep on finding people, even if you're not like making musical theater. Like no matter who you are, there is a place for you in Averno, and there are your people there, probably, chances are. And that's kind of like the biggest takeaway, is just that one of the things that we always put forward is that Averno is a home, and we are always trying to welcome more people into our home. And that's been the most beautiful thing about this community, is that then everybody who joins that community takes that mantle upon them. And when they see other people joining, like whenever you see a new account that's one of the Averno fan accounts, they make a new post and they're like, hi, I'm new here. And you see like 50 comments below it of people just being like, welcome home. And then they do a little heart, or they do a little pine tree emoji or whatever. And if you're looking for people and you're looking to create and you're looking for friends, you're looking to be less lonely, you're looking for something to hyperfixate on. Especially right now, like there is space for you. No matter who you are, there's space for you.
Well, like Averno, New York Theater Barn is also a home for artists and original musicals and virtual hybrids and all kinds of things that are happening. So thank you, Nala, Morgan, and Augie for this amazing presentation tonight and for your amazing work.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
See
you.
you
Thank
soon.
you for all the work that you're doing. Yes, it's so important.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to talk to you soon about the next Averno musical. So have a safe evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow.
Wow. I can't, they're so talented. I can't deal.
They're so special. Well, that's our show for tonight. We'll be back next Wednesday night with our new work series at 7 o'clock. The new musicals Love and Southern Discomfort and Present Perfect.
Yes, Love and Southern Discomfort is written by Bobby Day and Monica L. Patton, and Present Perfect is written by Jaime Lozano. Check out his new album, and Nancy Chesser.
And I'm excited about next week's performers, Nikki M. James, Ramona Keller, and Mauricio Martinez.
Yes, and don't forget, A Seat at the Table, our panel on inclusivity in the theater is Monday, October 19th at 7 p.m. And if you check our social media this week, there's going to be a little surprise featuring our panelist, Joe Iconis. I can't say what it is, but it will be worth it. So keep a watch out.
That's right. And our roundtable will serve as a fundraiser for New York Theater Barn. And as Morgan reminded us, there is room for all of us at the table. It takes an incredible amount of work to make tonight's show happen. And in order to continue to lift up artists and original musicals, we really need your help. So please join our generous donors by making your gift today on our website at nytheaterbarn.org/give.
Yes. Like he just said, newyorktheaterbarn.org/give. And you can also help us and donate by buying a ticket to our October 19th roundtable. And you can get tickets to that on Eventbrite on our website. So thank you for tuning in tonight.
And thank you for supporting live theater. Good night.
we will see you next week, or next week on Wednesday. Good night.
Good night.
We started off at Theater Barn before anybody was doing anything with our work. So I think we had Jeremy Jordan do a song at a Theater Barn concert, and that really launched a lot for us. So I feel like we're all in it together. So thank you to you guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for having the show.
So thank you so much, Joe and Jen, for having us today. We really love coming on here. It's a really special thing right now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. We love New York Theater Barn.
We do.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you for having us, Jen and Joe. Thank you, New York Theater Barn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Especially when we have like amazing theaters and platforms like you all, like lifting us up. So hey.
So yeah, we're just kind of looking towards the future, and you guys are so great for giving us this opportunity to let other ears hear us. So I'm very excited.
Hi, I'm Taylor Louderman.
I'm Ben Rahula.
And we are the co-creators of the Write Out Loud Songwriting Contest.
And thank you again, New York Theater Barn, for supporting new theater writers and new writers everywhere.